Hey guys, I hope you're all doing very well, except if you're a Chelsea fan and you had to endure absolute misery, which was obviously the West Ham game. Now, if you don't know, Chelsea played West Ham, it finished 3-1, and it was probably one of the most miserable displays I've seen. Not exaggerating, because obviously I've seen a lot of miserable displays last season, but it seems that everything we picked up from last season just somehow transferred to literally this season. And for all Chelsea fans that were getting all gassed up about, oh, we sold so many players, we're making a massive clear out, and we're going to bring some new, fresh players with young blood and actually care and fight for the badge. Where was that today? Apart from everything I've saw today, everything just looked like we just had no idea what we were doing. Everything looked like we lacked experience, we lacked personnel, and we actually lacked a real fighting edge in our bellies to actually somehow take on West Ham. It seemed like everything was just somehow evaporated massively. The performance was absolutely atrocious. I don't even think we were really that creative at all, despite all the possession, and we never really done anything with the ball. So, just all around an absolute shocking display. Now, I do apologize if the audio sounds like absolute shit. It's just very recently my actual headset I've been using for a while is just broke. Now, I'm going to be making do with actually getting a proper USB condenser mic, so hopefully by then maybe the audio will sound better. But, anyways, let's move on to the performance because I'm sure everyone wants to talk about the game. So, the game was terrible, and it was terrible almost immediately. So, immediately we conceded. I don't recall what minute it was, but it was very, very quick. So basically, the goal came in. Basically, James Ward-Prowse took the corner, and immediately the defender was unmarked and completely unchallenged, and headed the ball. And it was probably one of the most pathetic pieces of defending I've ever seen. Now, I have no idea what to say about it, unless if the fact is true that potentially we have just a very young, inexperienced squad. Does just signing young players and young players being the future, is it the right call? I think probably not. I think you do need real experience and real leadership in there. I mean, Thiago Silva is probably the only one, but he's not really fluent in speaking English or actually showing real leadership when actually trying to display that. I mean, obviously he's experienced, he's been playing for years, but he can't really sort of direct authority because he doesn't speak English. So that's a real issue. So I think that immediately, this year at the phaser, we took the corner, we conceded immediately. I think, I can't recall who was captain today because it does change very so often. But even like someone like Ben Chilwell with his experience didn't really help at all. So everything just seems really wrong from a leadership point of view that really couldn't be directed towards the young players. But also on top of everything, so basically we could see it early. It was a bad start. Now, a lot of the times I've been hearing that Chelsea have been keeping the ball very well. It seems the possession's working. But at the end of the day, it's about scoring goals and making chances. Most of the chances we made were half efforts or just downright awful awful attempts. So just completely skying the shot, not really going on target, or it was just like a half-assed effort. So not really much in terms of chances, I could say, unless until then Chukwuemeka just scored a good goal, and it was his first Premier League goal. So, but now he's also injured as well, so we've got another injury added to the list. So it seems right now it seems that things aren't going well at this point with injuries. So yeah, that was half time. It was 1-1. And then second half came, and that's when things really fell apart. So second half, we were just making mistakes with the possession and just making awful passes. And then I think for the second goal, I can't recall which West Ham player took the ball, but basically he just made a pass straight to Antonio, and Antonio literally just shrugged off. What was it, Dasai or something? The one he scored a goal against Liverpool, but his performance today was just really shocking. He just doesn't look ready for this level, and he just completely got bullied off by Mikel Antonio, who just literally just shrugged him off, took a shot, and then just Sanchez just couldn't reach it. So that was 2-1, and then literally throughout the whole game, we just struggled all the time. Just getting the ball in the middle, can't create through the middle. You know, even Jackson trying to make his runs off the ball, he just can't control it or have anyone else to link up with, whether it would have been Mudryk or Mudwaki, Sterling, none of them. it's like every time we try and link the ball up, it's like we're trying to find ghosts. It's just no one's there. So it's like, why link up with them if no one's getting in the area? We put a cross into a box, no one's there. We try and pass and link up the play, we lose possession. So everything was just, a disaster really from a attacking point of view. We keep the ball in the attacking third, trying all this sort of ideas to try and make space. But at the end of the day, nothing we could do is something we could capitalize on. So basically, all that was still going on, and I think when West Ham had some breaks, they tried to make the opportunities count. One of them was when Moise Caicedo came on. He had a very awful game, very awful debut for being £115 million. Well, it's not my money, so who cares? It's the owner's money. They deal with that shit. And immediately he gave away a penalty, and that was pretty much game over, and that made it 3-1. And just everything all around was just an awful performance. So yeah, we had, an awful debut for Caicedo. Also for Enzo Fernandez, I forgot to mention in the first half he missed a penalty that would have made it 2-1. And I'm telling you now, I literally knew it immediately. His run-up, his slow run-up was immediately a red flag that I knew he was going to miss. There was no placement with the penalty, and Areola just immediately just didn't really have to put any effort to dive to save that because it was just such a timid penalty. But all round, it was just an awful performance. Judging even if it was a draw or win, I'm not convinced. But to be fair, the loss was well deserved, really. And I even hate to say it, but it really does feel like I'm watching a club just really just fall in the standards completely. It doesn't seem that we really have a right structure to actually rebuild. Just rebuilding with just young players is just I don't really think that's the strategy. And even for a lot of these players like Mykhailo Mudryk, who I've really made so much criticism for, but yet he's still playing for this club. He doesn't really play like a footballer at all. I don't see it. Yeah, he's quick with the ball and he can be a threat, but I'm sure like when he's shooting or actually making an attacking presence, no one's scared of him. Like there was literally one ball I saw that was literally getting crossed into him. He had so much time. I'm telling you, so much time to like take a shot completely completely off target, just completely missed. What does that tell you about him? Is he really that good? I don't even know. But all around, it's just been an absolutely atrocious display. I think Mauricio Pochettino has got a huge amount of work. And I don't want to hear Chelsea fans tell me that someone like Lavia is somehow going to be in this midfield that's going to improve us. What's he going to do that's going to be different? You already saw Caicedo was in this team. He had an awful debut. He might improve, but I can't go off assumptions just based on maybe and potential, just to somehow think that this team will automatically just get better. You have to make a mark, and you have to be, you have to prove yourself. And I'm not seeing any of these players proving themselves right now. But yeah, very, very concerning, very, very awful result. And I think in general, just an awful start to the season. And yeah, that's about it. See you later.